of doing PhD in 2021 because I thought maybe 1 year of project assistantship to gain more research experience would be better. So I have already got a position in my own MS lab to continue work there, but then COVID scenario is too bad, so I'm not able to join yet.
So what are you doing currently?
Currently, I am just at home, nothing
Okay.
else.
Okay. So
Our results are not yet announced either.
so
Master's results.
you mean the to join the master's program?
No. I've finished my master's
Oh, you have
program,
finished.
but
Okay,
my
okay.
results
PhD.
are yet to be announced. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And have you got admit into a PhD program, or you are?
No, I have not applied because I don't have my GRE yet. And
Okay,
then,
okay, 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 okay. So you have to give your GRE, and then you're gonna apply for
yeah,
your
I have to
PhD
give my
program.
GRE. I have given my TOEFL, GRE I have not given.
Okay, okay. And then what's your plans are? Tell me a little bit more about the after what you have done before that. Your
My work or
yeah,
like by
your work and everything.
okay, so I did my bachelor's in chemistry and material science.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so my major was materials and minor was chemistry, and I finished it in 2009.
Okay, okay.
And then at IIC only, I continued for masters in material science again. So I
2000,
have done
2019.
19, yeah.
Okay.
2020 July I was supposed to finish, but then it is getting lagged. So I've done very variety kind of internships and projects.
Okay,
So
okay.
I've done projects from molecular biology to sensors to characterization studies, and I did internship at DRDO. It was super alloys
Okay.
metallurgy,
Uh-huh.
and my BS and master's program was masters was project was in sensors. It
Okay,
was
okay.
organic sensors,
Mhm.
chemiresistors.
Got it, got it.
So, but
Okay,
my interests lie in biomaterials and drug delivery, not exactly in organic sensors.
okay, okay. And not even in core metallurgy.
No, metallurgy also, but not
No,
in sensors.
not
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
And so, have you looked at or have you done any research on talking to professors out and wherever
Yeah,
you're applying for?
I have applied. So one of the metallurgy, I'm confused if I should continue in my same lab. I mean, if I continue in my same lab, there is a possibility of getting a paper. But then
Like,
I will not have a different research experience in accordance to my interest, like in metallurgy. But if I join another lab, I might not get paper, but I will get research experience there. So I am
you know,
confused.
mean when you say you want to continue in your lab, you mean for a PhD program or
No, as project assistant.
okay, it's project. Okay, okay, okay. Understood. But let me ask you, what's your plan for PhD that you want to go outside abroad and do it? Is
Yeah, I
that
want to go outside,
okay?
preferably UK. But then I
Preferably.
attended the last webinar. I understood US. Yeah, US is better.
I mean, to be honest with you, if you go to UK or US, in my opinion, both are. I mean, I will put US before UK, and the reason is very simple: is because I feel that in US you have more opportunities
Yeah,
compared to UK. That's for
UK.
that is because you have to understand what you're going to do after that too.
Mm.
And even if you look at UK, the unemployment rate and everything, or the job opportunities and so forth, in my opinion, what I have read and seen so far, of course, it's US is much better. So, in that
Mm.
sense, I was saying. But, at the same time, I would say if you get into a really, really good school in UK versus in US, I would definitely have a choice then. Let's say, for example, you get into Cambridge or Oxford
Mm.
versus in US, you are not able to secure admission in a good university. Definitely, you have to choose a good university,
Mm.
right? Because
Yeah.
even then after that, you can transition to US or some other places for a postdoc or for any other program.
Yeah.
But Link, my question to you: what's are your plan after PhD? Are you more interested into academics, or you are interested in joining or you are interested in coming back home, or you want to work? What in that
I am
scenario?
flexible for both, but then I'm not interested in academia.
You're not okay.
Yeah.
You're more interested in working for an industry job.
Industry,
Okay,
yes.
okay, okay. So I would say if that is the case, definitely I would say that the chances for you between UK and US would be, I would say US is better, definitely.
US is better.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. Because as I said, the industry jobs or jobs in particular are much more
Mhm.
opportunity wise also. That's for sure. And also, if even if you work in US, um, and many people say they want to go to Europe also. I have never, I don't have a issue with that, but then I would also question, do you know how much opportunities are there in European countries? For sure. As far as your questions are concerned, Apurva, about PhD program and some of the questions you said, um, you know, my feeling is, or my experience is, uh, number one, I'm telling you the priority wise, right? Ranking wise, what should be the first criteria, second and third and fourth? I'd say, if and again going back to the point, you want to get into a good school and so forth. I would say number one is you don't want to screw up your GRE score.
Yes, yeah.
That's
I
like
did
then,
take GRE, but then my GRE score was just 300 and it is not good enough. So I have to
yeah,
repeat.
yeah, yeah. So that's number one.
Hmm.
Okay. Number two, about, let's say if you didn't perform well into a particular core course or something, and if it's that is showing up in your in your transcript, let's say,
Hmm.
again through my personal experience, I can tell you that when I was in India and I was applying to universities, there was one university, because I had a core course where I had a bad grade. They asked me the reason for that.
Yeah.
Did ask me what is the reason for that. And I think these are the questions which become important, because if they have to choose a student between who will get a scholarship and who is not, especially the fellowships, not the research assistantship. So you have teaching assistantship, that
Hmm.
means you are supposed to teach undergrads and you will get paid. The one
Yeah.
is research assistantship. That means you work on a project funded by a professor on a project. Okay. And the third is fellowship. Fellowship is more or less like a university or a department thing. So for research assistantship, it doesn't matter, because that is the, I would say, a decision of a professor. So he or she can make a decision.
Okay.
But if you are going for a teaching assistantship and your TOEFL score is lower, and that means that you can't communicate, that means you will get less preference. If there is a university fellowship and your grades are bad, then the department can make a decision. But research assistantship is more or less immune, in my opinion, because as I said, the professor can make a decision. So if a professor likes you and is likes your work, and if he or she thinks that you have done good job and it will be good for his or her research, they can admit you. So that's not a problem. Okay. That's number one. um, Not having a GRE score, not is not a choice. I think you have to have a GRE score.
Haven't universities dropped taking GRE score because of COVID now?
I hear about that, but I am not sure, to be honest. I whether it applies to a domestic or international. I'm not sure about that, because you
Yeah.
were absolutely right. Like for example, some universities are saying that this year they are going to waive the SAT score for undergrads and GRE
Hmm.
score. But again, I'm not sure, to be honest. And I have few friends who are professors here in universities. They are also not sure. I try to answer this question, but they are also having a tough time in recruiting people from outside.
Okay.
Very tough time because of COVID. And so they said they can't communicate and this and that. So they asked, sometimes some of the people are asking my help, saying that since you talk to so many students in US who are in the US and who are doing masters and can't find a job, can you find a good student for us who can transition? So if you're in US, transition is easy for if you're outside. And right now, the visas are freeze and all that. It doesn't apply to, by the way, F1 visa, the visa freeze. It doesn't apply to that. But I was talking today to someone in Kolkata, and the person is saying that the Kolkata embassy is closed, so you can't go for
Okay.
visa. So that's other problem, right?
Hmm.
So if embassies are closed, how are you going to go? So again, all these problems could be an issue for you also, because if embassies are closed, you can't go. If professor is not sure, if they can't make a decision, then it's not sure. And also what is happening is, previously, because of COVID, before COVID, a lot of students get teaching assistantship, a lot of them, PhDs. So what they do is, usually if they hire someone, they say, okay, why don't you do teaching assistantship, half and half, we will give you RA and all that, right? Because the professor may not have enough money and they need someone to teach a student. So teaching assistantship money was a good pool of money that university used to give to PhD students so that they can continue their PhD and help them out, right? But now what
Yes.
happened is, because of online, the enrollment has went so down, the teaching assistantship has gone down too. Universities are losing money, right? And
Yes.
since most of the classes are online, they are not looking for someone who needs teaching assistantship. And this is happening. So what does that means? That means is simply the competition is going to be very high. That means that the chances of getting scholarships are going to go low, and universities are cutting funds anyway. So they are telling professor, we don't have money for teaching assistantship, now you have to teach, you have to grade, right? So these are
Yes.
the things that are happening. So just keep that in mind, that what that is going to do, that means your score, your bar has to be really high, right? So just keep all these things in mind, that that could happen,
Hmm.
for anybody, to be honest. How difficult it is to get PhD positions in a subject you have no experience at all, but taking course. And so, in my opinion, I can tell you my example. Okay, here is my example. I have my undergrad in mining engineering from India,
Hmm.
from IIT. That I did my master's in civil engineering from in Arizona, and then I did my PhD in mechanical engineering from Maryland. So I have changed departments, forget about subjects, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, it's a very good possibility, but it depends on you, how you convince someone. And in my case, I can tell you, how did I was able to convince. Okay, so whenever I transitioned from one department to another, I knew my interest lies in material science.
Hmm.
So the way I convinced a professor at Maryland, I said, I have done courses which are very relevant for a materials person. Like I did my courses on solid mechanics, which is a versatile course. I had courses on constitutive modeling, which is a very versatile course. So all these courses you can apply in other streams too. And my interest is in material science. I don't care whether it's a rock mechanics, soil mechanics, geomechanics, or plasticity, or metal mechanics, or or so for that matter, composites or something. I can still apply the principles that I learned in those materials too, because physics remains the same, right? It doesn't change. So again, it depends on you, how you convince someone.
So you mean you
So
will have to be very precise in your SOP
right,
about all this?
right. But if you tell me I have a background in material science, can I do a
Hmm.
PhD in electronics engineering? That definitely is going to know. But there has to be a similarity. All I'm saying, the transition has to say something about how you can do it. So your answer question is, your question is relevant, that if you have taken some courses,
Hmm.
if you
I
have
have
done a
taken
project,
courses, but I have not done projects in them.
right? That's what I'm saying. There has to be an overlap. See,
Hmm.
you can say, so PhD is about learning, right? You can say, I will learn, but I can contribute 50% too. Nobody's going to give you a PhD because you have a zero. I mean, if you look at people who do PhD in material science, are chemists, physicists, and everyone, right? So there has to be an overlap. And these days, I would say, if you can bring that in house, you can say, what I learned on this area where I was, I can able to transition that knowledge in developing a new transistor. Maybe a person in electrical engineering is very interested. And trust me, most of the projects are interdisciplinary nowadays. So they are asking you to develop, let's say, give you an example. since we are talking about now people, people just returning from International Space Station today, they're going to talk you about, can you develop a Mars rover, or can you tell us what how can you tell us about how you can extract water in moon, right? So
Yeah.
what it requires so many interdisciplinary skills. It requires mechanical engineering, instrumentation, sensors, electrical engineering, geochemist, a person who knows about linear geology, a person who knows about thermal management. I mean, so many stuff.
Yeah.
So just imagine, you as a person is not, are just a small part of it, right? But they need you. So
Mm.
coming back to the point is that whatever you learn, are you able to transmit that? So let's say if a person gets a project from NASA, and he is looking, or he or she is looking for a person who is can help them, but it's a department of geology, you may be the
Mm.
right person, doesn't matter. Or if a person is doing it and he may be in the department of electrical engineering, but the subject matter tells them that they need someone their help. And that's how it is, to be honest with you. Exactly, that's how it is these days. Okay, so just what I'm trying to tell you is, you can convince someone, but make sure how you do it. And I gave you my example, that's how I did it. But it doesn't mean you can, that person can be convinced. Okay, I have failures. So when I try to convince someone in Texas Austin, he said, I don't understand. So that's fine, but somebody else got convinced. That worked out well for me. Okay, so it's your job how well you convince someone. Okay, how about another master's affect my PhD? And I won't suggest that, to be honest. I won't suggest doing another master's. I would say spend your time in convincing someone.
I
Okay.
was thinking, since it's not easier to apply anywhere, in case I crack gate, I will attend another master's and then something like, I was thinking something like that.
Right. So here's the thing. I don't know about what's going on, but how people, or how university, or how professors think in India. But it used to be very bad. They are like, oh, if you're not a mechanical engineer, you can't go PhD in mechanical engineering. But I think things have changed now. As That's what I think, because as I said, I have friends who are professors. They keep telling me those things, that they it doesn't matter nowadays. So again, what I would tell you is how you can convince someone, because spending another 2 year for masters, I don't recommend that. It doesn't give you, it's not going to give you a value to it.
Okay.
And another thing, let me tell you, if you say I'm not interested in this area versus that area, I mean, what I do now has nothing to do what I did in my PhD. I work for totally different thing. I work for space now, which has nothing to do with I do my PhD, or to be honest with you, it has nothing to do with I did my undergrad, bachelor, masters, and so forth. But what I'm saying is, you will in life, that's how it is. You will do a lot of things, and you will keep moving. Don't get fascinated by I like this. It doesn't work that way. Trust me. There, at this age, I want you to explore as much as you can. When you say I'm gonna stick to this, that comes later on. That's how I feel that should be, because that's how you're going to grow too, right? Those, I mean, there are many people, there are few people whom you talk and say, I really like this thing, and I go for it. Then I question them, and if I see that guy is so convinced and so sure, I said, go for it. Then it's fine. But if you're not sure, I said, who knows, after 2 years you're going to say, I like something else.
Mm.
Then what's going to happen? You're going to do another master's, right? It doesn't work that way.
Mm.
Okay. Okay, about your master's affect my PhD and employment process. No, it doesn't. No, 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 nothing. All your job right now is focused on how to do a good job and what you do. That's it. That's all matters. Okay, because you don't know where you're gonna land up, because you're gonna build on what you do in your subject. So here's the thing: if you go to a entry level position after your PhD, let's say you go to industry, they're gonna ask you what you did in your PhD, how you were able to solve a problem, how good you are in solving a problem, how good you are as a leader, how good you were, how what methodology you used to figure out to solve that problem. That's it. because they know if you are able to do it, you can do other problems too. Do you understand my point?
Yes, sir.
PhD is a training. The degree has no meaning. You need to do a good job in getting trained well. It has nothing to do with what you do, because trust me, especially nowadays, is so true that what you work on, trust me, after 4 years down the road, you do something else. And that is the mantra to success. You tell me now, when I'm talking about now, I'm talking about Gen X generation, which born after 1980s and so forth, and maybe very true for you guys, is how many people stay in the same job for more than 5 years?
They switch after 2, 3 years every
End of
two.
the end of the story. It's a very common statistics. I mean, my dad used to work in a as a teacher in a college, and he retired from there. Those stories are unheard of nowadays,
Yes.
right? How many people work in a company and say, like our dad used to be like that. That's what I meant, not our
Mm.
generation. I mean, I after I graduated, this is my fourth job, and this has been just 10 years, and every time I did totally different thing. Understand my point?
Yes, sir.
And this is not just what I'm saying is that's how I am, or that's how people are. That's the nature of the job nowadays too. It's very fluid. You need to move on, because if you're not able to move on, you are going to die. You are out of the business. When I say out of a business, you mean as a person you are out of business too.
Mm.
So you need to be fluid. You can say that I can. So here is giving you that example, right? I can say I am the expert of this particular area, but can I apply this to aerospace? Can I apply this to biology? Can I apply this on automotive? Can I apply this for oil and gas? Can I apply this in catalyst? Can I apply this in other area of material science, or can I apply this as somewhere else? You want to be that person, not a person who says, I know this and this is where I'm going to apply, and that's how I'm going to retire and die. Never works. It's not going to happen. You will be out of the out of the job way before you think. Okay, unless and until you become a professor in a university and you keep doing the same thing for last 30 years. And trust me, that scenario may gonna change too very soon. We are seeing that in US, and that will happen because time is, we count time as like, oh, 30 years is long. Trust me, it's not long. Think of how quickly you from undergrad you are in this place now. It's like blink of an eye, right? And I can't imagine like 10 years down the road, I just gone after I graduated. I still feel like I'm a PhD student. I still feel like I'm one of those guys you getting, but it's not the truth. It flies so fast. So as I said, the more fluid you are, the better you are, right? And even in, I would say, once you become a professor in US, it's very true, because you have to bring your own money. Because unlike in India, US professors are not paid for 12 years, 12 months. They are paid only for 9 months. 3 months, they have to make their own salary. They don't get paid. So what you do then, if you are not able to bring money? There are many professors who are unemployed in 3 months. Those 3 months, they're unemployed. Not everyone gets money. And I think that keep them competitive, that keeps them work hard, and that's why, what's the reason is. And trust me, not today but tomorrow, same thing can happen to countries like India or other places, where they say, we don't have money, you have to bring your own, because everything is getting now standardized, right? Everybody's following the same thing. So what's going to happen? Those people who are successful are going to move on. So there are professors you will find in US, same assistant professor, associate professor, probably they make $5,000, and probably somebody's making 100,000, right? So again, same applies for, and this applies more so for university, sorry, industry, like
Industry.
100 times more. So when you say, I'm going to go to industry, make sure you are meant to be that dynamic.
Mm.
You have to be extremely dynamic. Jobs are not secure in industries anywhere in the world. So are you able to move out and move quickly? So just make sure you do that. If the first job is non-core field, does it affect the process of getting core jobs later on? It can affect. So if you say I'm going to find a job in Infosys now, can I find a job in, I don't know, Biocon? Yeah, it will be difficult. But I spoke to a guy. There was a video, you should watch it. It's from a guy from Concordia University.
Okay.
It's on my YouTube page. I spoke to him. It's a very interesting case. He used to work for a company called Infosys, and his client was Rolls Royce, and he was a mechanical engineer. So he was able to do projects of mechanical engineering working for Infosys. So that was so I would say you may get a chance to do a similar thing.
No,
You may.
mine was like many of my friends have joined for infotainment like Byju's and
Right, right.
Alan kind of jobs
Mhm.
because it is COVID scenario, and but
Right.
then their main interest is in core fields. So I was thinking maybe I could also do that, and then
No, no, as I say, you can do that, but trust me, as I said always, whenever you move from one place to another, there has to be a pathway, a transition pathway. What are you going to say in the interview, right? Excuse me. So just make sure that you have a story to say, like why you want to join it, right? Anybody will ask you that question. Why suddenly you become interested in, or let's say if you work for 1 year or 2 year, then transition will be extremely hard because you will lose everything, whatever you know. The knowledge is gone, right?
yes.
So then it will be extremely difficult. Then but because as I said, there are people, my friends which I know, which have worked for in Infosys or any company for 1 year or 2 year, and then they didn't like it. Then they came for master's program or PhD program in US, and then they started working for a core company. Same thing
But
goes for, yeah, go ahead.
wouldn't it be better to be employed in something than be unemployed and doing nothing? Um,
Yes, but again, you can be. Are you when you say you're be employed? What I'm saying is you. There are two ways, right? You can say I can work for a company A which sells ketchup,
mm,
right? Or can I work for my professor as a project assistant and keep enhancing my knowledge because that is really ultimately I want to do. That's
mm,
what I meant. I'm not saying sit at home.
okay, yes.
I'm not saying that, yeah. But again, coming depends on the point because you can become a door-to-door salesperson that will keep you employed. But if that you want to do, it's up to you. But that's not going to help you to achieve what you really want to do, right? That's what I meant. So again, you can choose between both what lies in. But if you have to make a transition, then there has to be a story, right? Yeah. You have any other questions, Apurva?
So I had this doubt like
Yeah, go
about
ahead.
this, the same thing that I told earlier, that I have a position already in my lab to continue as a project assistant. I've already
Mhm.
worked there for 1.5 years, and there I have worked on three different things. So there are possibilities of two papers, and because of COVID scenario, all the work has stopped. If I work there for 6 months or a year, I can publish two papers, but
Uh-huh.
then that will be just in that field and not in the field that I am interested to do a PhD. And then there's another position with another professor. He works in the field that I like,
Mhm.
but then I might not get a paper there. So, which will be better in terms of a PhD position? Like,
So your idea is, what should I choose so my
yeah,
chances of getting into a PhD program becomes better? I think that's your question, I believe, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely, I would say don't do it if you're not interested in it.
It's not like I'm not entirely disinterested. I like the work, but then I like the other professors' work more or the field more.
Right. So,
Like here it is organic sensors. The professor that I'm interested, he does core metallurgy, biomaterials like that.
right. So here's the thing. I think the reason you are trying to do work under this professor versus that, what is the goal, right? The goal is to get into a PhD program ultimately.
Yes.
That's a goal, right? So my
Yes.
advice to you in this case is, if you get a good GRE score,
Mm.
okay, as I said, preferences are good GRE score, good grades, good recommendations. The publication comes fourth. So if you're gonna say, I'm gonna get two more publications, and can I go to a better university, and my GRE score is screwed up? No, it's not gonna help you.